My daughter-in-law looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're not invited for Christmas." I didn't argue. I just smiled, walked out, and went home. The very first thing I did was cancel their mortgage payment. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe, and please tell me and others what's one life lesson everyone should hear before it's too late. Share it in the comments below. Thanks. 2 days later, my phone was lit up with 24 missed calls suddenly. The same woman who once called me messy and extra was begging me to save her dream home, but by then, I already had another plan. The next day, I showed up at their house with a tin of cookies, balanced on my knees. My heart was beating so fast, like it used to when Daniel was little, and I surprised him at school. Except this time, it wasn't a surprise. He had told me, "Sure, Mom, come by, anytime." When the door opened, there he was, my boy. Taller, now, broader, but still with the same shy smile he had as a child. "Mom," he said, giving me a quick hug, short and rushed, with no real warmth. I forced a smile and lifted the tin. "I brought cookies, cinnamon, your favorite." He mumbled thanks and stepped aside. The moment I walked in, my chest tightened. The house sparkled like something out of a magazine. White lights, shiny ornaments, velvet stockings with their names, Daniel and Emily, embroidered in gold. I searched for mine. Nothing. My eyes went to the photo wall. Not a single picture of me. Instead, it was filled with Emily's family matching outfits, ski trips, winery visits. I remembered when those frames used to hold pictures of Daniel's first day of school, the three of us at the lake, my husband's smile before cancer took him, all of it gone, like I never existed. I clutched the cookie tin tighter, as if it was the only piece of me left in that house. Daniel broke the silence. "Mom, want some coffee?" I nodded and sat on the couch one I had paid 4 years ago. My hands shook in my lap. Then Emily floated, in perfume, gloss, her phone dangling like jewelry. She looked me up and down, her eyes lingering on my old cardigan, and gave me a tight smile. "Alina," she said sweetly. Hi, sweetheart," I replied to brightly. I lifted the cookies. "I brought these for Christmas." "Thank you," she said, but didn't take them. Just stood there, like a queen waiting for me to bow. I tried again. "So, what time should I come on Christmas Day? I thought I'd make tamales. Daniel always loved those." Emily let out a sigh. "Actually, about Christmas." My heart skipped. "What about it?" She perched herself on the armrest of the couch like it was a throne. "We're keeping it small this year. Just us and my parents." The words hit me like ice water. "Just you and your parents?" I asked. "Yes," she said casually, crossing her legs. "It's easier without extra people." "Extra people?" My chest burned. "I'm not extra. I'm his mother." My voice cracked. Her smile was sharp, but fake, of course. "It's nothing personal. My parents just have certain expectations. They like things elegant, refined." She dragged out the word refined, as if I wasn't. I turned to Daniel. "You're okay with this?" He shifted in his seat like a guilty child. "Mom, it's just one Christmas." One Christmas. He didn't know I'd been counting every single one since his father died. Emily's phone buzzed. She answered, her voice suddenly sweet. "Hi, yeah, she's here. Don't worry, everything's fine. She understands." My head snapped up. "Mom understands what?" I asked, my voice cold. Emily lowered her phone but didn't hang up. "That this year is private. We need peace. No distractions." Distractions. That's what I was now. I repeated it slowly, tasting the bitterness of the word. Emily tilted her head, looking me over like I was something dirty she had to clean up. "You know how it is. We want an atmosphere, something cultured. My parents are used to certain conversations." My throat tightened. "And I'm not good enough for those." Her smile sharpened again. "You said it, not me." Then I saw her phone screen light up with a message. "Crisis averted." She bought it. Heat rushed through my chest so hard I thought I might collapse. My voice was a trembling whisper. "Emily, what exactly do you think I bought?" She slipped her phone into her pocket like nothing happened. "Let's not make this ugly." Ugly, as if I was the problem. I looked at Daniel, my boy, one I worked double shifts for, the one I sacrificed everything for. My eyes begged him to say something. Instead, he muttered, "Mom, please, don't make this harder." The cookie tin on my lap felt heavy, like a brick. Useless, just like me in that house. Slowly, I stood, my body stiff with humiliation. "I see," I whispered, my voice no longer my own. Emily smirked. Drive safe, Alina. Her words cut like a knife. And just like that, I walked out, my heart pounding so loud I thought it might shatter inside my chest. My hand was on the door handle when I heard her voice again, soft but sharp enough to cut me open. Finally, peace, she said. For a second, the world went completely quiet. I stepped outside into the cold night, and my phone buzzed in my pocket. Emily's name flashed on the screen like a warning sign. I didn't answer. I sat in the car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I stared at the house, the one I had worked and sacrificed to give them. The house I realized I would never walk into again. My chest burned, not with anger or grief, but something different, something whispering inside me. This isn't over. As I drove through the city, Christmas lights blurred through my windshield. Every window glowed warm. Families laughed over dinners I could only imagine. One Christmas, Emily had said, as if it was nothing. But I knew the truth. The first time you're told you're not welcome, it doesn't stop. That's how it begins. Memories rushed back, sharp and painful. I saw the loan papers in my mind, my shaky signature at the bottom, Daniel's hand on mine, promising, "Mom, I'll pay you back as soon as I can." And of course, I believed him. He's my son. I remembered scratching out Cancun from my old kitchen calendar when Emily called me crying about the down payment. "We just need a little help to get started, Alina," she had said in that sugary voice. "We'll make it up to you, promise." So I skipped vacations, ignored my leaky roof, even sold my jewelry. All so they could have that perfect house. And now, I was extra. My phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't a call, it was Instagram. Emily's post shined on my screen like poison. "Christmas is about class, not chaos." 3 laughing emojis. And right under it, Daniel's like, "Class, chaos." My chest squeezed so tight I could barely breathe. Was that what I was now? Chaos. I wanted to pull over just to scream, but instead, I pressed the gas harder, blinking back hot tears. By the time I got home, my hands ached from clenching the wheel. I parked and sat there, staring at the cracked paint of my small house, same house I almost lost because I put theirs first. Inside, the cold hit me like a slap. The heater had broken again. A repairman had quoted me last month, but I'd told him I'd wait. Too expensive. I set my purse down and pulled out groceries I'd bought with coupons and pocket change: eggs, bread, a pack of soup I didn't even like. My fingers were stiff with cold as I laid them out on the counter, and then I froze. There, on the floor, was the box. Shiny, big, still wrapped with the bows slipping off. The espresso machine. I'd scraped together every spare dollar to buy it 2 weeks ago because Emily had gone on and on at the store about how much she loved good coffee. I thought, this will make her smile. This will make her see me. I stared at the box until my chest felt hollow. I used to believe giving meant love. I used to believe sacrifice meant family. But tonight, it hit me like a punch. I was wrong. I grabbed my phone. Emily's post was still glowing. Class, not chaos. Something inside me cracked. Something old. Something heavy. And in the silence of my cold kitchen, I whispered, "Never again." The phone rang just then, vibrating on the table. Emily's name flashed. For a moment, I thought about ignoring it, letting it ring, let her stew. But a part of me wanted to hear her voice just in case she had an apology, just in case there was still some decency left. I answered, "Hello." My voice sounded thin, shaky, like I had been running when I hadn't moved at all. "Alina," she said brightly, like nothing had happened. "Do you have a minute?" A minute. She had already taken hours, years, my whole life. But I said, "Sure." There was a pause, the kind of fake hesitation people use before they slide the knife in. "I just wanted to clear the air after earlier. I didn't want you to think it was personal." I stared at the peeling paint on my kitchen wall, saying, "Nothing. It's just." She lowered her voice, like she was sharing a secret. "My parents are used to a certain kind of holiday, something sophisticated, elegant." "Elegant," I repeated, slow and bitter. "Yes, you know how it is. They like atmospheric crystal candles, conversations about travel and books, not loud traditions." My chest burned. "You mean our traditions," I said, my voice sharp as glass. "Don't take it that way," she rushed. "It's just, they're not used to things like—" Her voice trailed off, but I already knew. I gripped the edge of the table. "Tamales," I said, letting the word hang heavy in the air. "They're heavy," she said quickly. "Messy. We want clean lines, elegant plates, A curated experience. A curated experience. That's what my son's Christmas had turned into. A show. A magazine spread. A world where I didn't fit. I stayed quiet. If I spoke, I knew I'd scream, "Alina," she said after a beat, her voice soft, fixed, waiting for me to answer. Her voice turned sweet again, but it carried that same sharp edge. "Listen, maybe you can still stop by for dessert, if things go smoothly." My fingers dug into the chair. If things go smoothly. Yes, just, no drama. Keep it light. We can set out a little plate for you. Like I was some stray dog they'd toss scraps to. I swallowed hard. Right, dessert. Perfect. She chirped. All sunshine now. See, we can make this work. My parents will be thrilled if everything feels elevated. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to cry. Instead, I said softly, "I understand," and hung up before she could speak again. My hand shook so badly the phone nearly slipped. I dropped it on the counter, gripping the chair until my knuckles turned white. For a second, I thought I might throw up. Then the tears came, hot, bitter, unstoppable. I sat in the dark kitchen, chest hollow, staring at nothing. I thought of my husband, how he used to sit across from me at this very table, holding my hand when life got hard. He'd understand, Emily had said once. He'd understand. I whispered into the empty room, my voice cracking. She used him. She used his memory against me. My throat tightened until I couldn't breathe. I picked up my phone, not to call her back, but to look, to see the truth. Instagram opened, and the first story hit me like a punch. Emily's perfectly manicured hands, diamond ring sparkling, wrapping a bow around the espresso machine. The one I bought. The caption, "From us, to my amazing parents." I blinked hard, but the words didn't change. From us. Not a word about me. Not even a thank you. My money, my love, erased like I was nothing. I sat frozen, the cold of the kitchen crawling into my bones. My tea sat on the table, stone cold now, untouched. My ears roared. This wasn't just about dinner, or a post, or a coffee machine. This was years of me bending, giving, breaking myself to make their life easy, mortgaging my future so they could live their dream. And for what? So I could beg for a seat at a table I paid for. Something inside me shifted then. Quiet, dangerous. I wiped my face and stood. My legs felt steady for the first time all day. In the corner of the room sat the old filing cabinet, rusted handle, paint chipped. Inside were the papers that tied me to their happiness. I pulled the drawer open, and the metal groaned. Stacks of envelopes, stared back mortgage statements, receipts, proof of everything I had given, and everything they had taken. I spread them across the kitchen table like evidence in a crime scene. 5 years of statements. 5 years of bleeding for a house that wasn't mine. Every page screamed at me. $3,000. $3,000. Month after month. I picked up the first one December, 5 years ago. I remembered it too well. Emily's soft, pleading voice. "Alina, we're so close. If we don't close this week, we'll lose the house." That week, I sold my gold bracelet, the one Daniel had given me for my 50th birthday. I told myself, it's just a thing. Family is worth more than things. Now, looking at that paper, I felt sick. 5 years of sacrifice, and all I got in return was to be called extra, to be erased from my own bloodline. I shoved the papers into a pile, grabbed my phone, and scrolled to the bank's number. My hands didn't shake this time. It rang twice. "Thank you for calling Cascade Credit Union. How can I help you today?" "My name is Alina Ramirez," I said, my voice steady. "Account ending in 4172. I need to cancel an automatic payment." The rep paused. "Certainly. Which payment would you like to cancel?" "The mortgage transfer," I said. "Effective immediately." Another pause. "Ma'am, just to confirm, this is the joint account set up for the monthly house payment of $3,000. "Yes." My grip on the phone tightened. "Cancel it." "Are you sure this will cancel it?" I snapped, my voice cut like glass. Silence. Then, "Understood, ma'am. The payment has been canceled effective today." I exhaled, slow and deep, like a weight I'd carried for years had finally lifted. "Would you like a confirmation number?" "No," I said. "I'll remember." When I hung up, the quiet in the house felt different. Not empty, not cold, powerful. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I gathered the stack of statements and carried them into the living room. The fireplace sat dark, waiting. I opened the screen, struck a match, and fed the first page to the flames. The paper curled, the ink bled, and then it vanished. One page down, dozens to go. I fed the papers to the fire, one by one. January, February, March. Each page felt like closing a wound that had been opened too long. The flames snapped louder with every sheet, almost like they were cheering me on. When the last page turned to ash, I poured myself a glass of the good wine I'd been saving for Christmas. I curled up in the armchair, fire glowing, glass in hand, and for the first time in years, I felt warm inside, not from the wine, not from the fire, but from the truth. They had built their life on me, and now I had taken it back. The house would fall without me, and when it did, they'd finally see who had held it up all these years. My phone buzzed. On the table, Emily's voicemail. Curiosity won over pride, so I pressed play. Her voice blasted out, sharp and panicked. "Elena, call me back now. No sweetness, no fake charm, just fear." The fire cracked behind me as her words echoed through the quiet room. I swirled the wine in my glass and whispered to the flames, "Perfect." That night, I didn't answer a single call. 20 missed calls by morning, 10 from Emily, 5 from Daniel, the rest unknown numbers. I sipped tea.com as ever. Around noon, Emily's name lit up again. This time I picked up. "Elena," she snapped, voice all business now. "Listen, I need a favor. My parents landed early. Can you pick them up from the airport? They've been waiting 30 minutes already." I leaned back, staring at the ashes in the fireplace. "A favor?" "Yes," she said quickly, like it was obvious. "Daniel's stuck at work. I'm prepping for dinner. I can't leave right now. Please just do this." "Why me?" I asked, my tone soft but steady. Her sigh rattled through the phone. "Because you're the only one I can ask. Please hurry. And Elena wears something decent. They notice things like that." I stared at my peeling kitchen cabinets. "Of course," I whispered. "Thank you, you're a lifesaver," she said, her voice suddenly sweet again. I hung up without a word. Instead of rushing to the airport, I made myself grilled cheese, golden and buttery, with a glass of sweet tea. I sat by the window, watching the December wind shake the trees. The first bite tasted like freedom. My phone buzzed nonstop. Emily, then Daniel, then Emily again. I ignored them all. When I checked Instagram, there it was, a photo of 2 expensive suitcases at baggage claim. The caption read, "Some people can't handle basic responsibilities." I laughed out loud, sharp and bitter. Another call came through, and I put it on speaker. Emily's voice exploded. "Elena, where are you?" "They've been waiting 2 hours." I took another bite, loud enough for her to hear the crunch. "I'm home," I said simply. "You're what?" she shrieked. "Home, eating lunch." "You're joking." "Nope, you told me to wear something decent. I figured I'd sit this one out." Her gasp sliced through the line. "Are you out of your mind? They're standing there with luggage like fools. Do you have any idea how this looks?" "Yes," I said softly. "Perfect." Silence, just her shallow breathing. Then she hissed, "You will regret this." The line went dead. I set my napkin aside, leaned back, and let the quiet sink in. For the first time in years, I wasn't shaking. I wasn't scared. I was steady, strong. Saying no had never felt so powerful. An hour later, the pounding started. 3 hard knocks, then 5 more, shaking the whole frame. I walked slowly to the door, bare feet silent against the floor. Through the peephole, I saw Emily in her polished coat, her lips tight with rage. Behind her stood her parents, red-faced, dragging their designer luggage up my porch steps. She slammed her fist against the door again. "Elena," she snapped, her voice sharp as glass. "Open this door now." I rested my hand on the doorknob. Even smiling. I thought I had already seen the worst of Emily's arrogance, but I was wrong. The pounding on the door grew louder, her voice shrieking through the wood. "Elena, open this door right now." I stood there, listening, almost picturing her face red with anger, jaw tight, eyes burning with that fake superiority she wore like perfume. The glass rattled with every bang. "You're humiliating us. Do you even care what you've done?" Humiliating them. Not one word about how they had gutted me days ago. Not a single apology. I unlocked the door and swung it open. Emily shoved past me first, her coat flaring out behind her like a cape. Her parents stormed in too, dragging their designer suitcases across my worn wooden floor, their faces twisted with rage. "You embarrassed us," Emily snapped, her voice sharp like a whip. Do you have any idea what we looked like out there? Standing like idiots while everyone else got picked up. I folded my arms, calm as a still lake. You managed to find your way here just fine. Her cheeks flamed. That's not the point. She jabbed a finger at me like I was a child. My parents, do you even know who they are? Yes, I said flatly. People with legs. They walked. Her father, Cody, stepped forward. Tall, gray hair, expensive coat that probably cost more than my car. His voice boomed like thunder. You listen to me. We don't tolerate disrespect. You think you can humiliate my family? I'll make sure everyone in this town knows what you really are. I raised an eyebrow. And what am I? He sneered. Ungrateful, bitter, pathetic. You're lucky we ever let you near us. Emily smirked beside him, arms folded like a queen watching her soldier fight. Cody barked louder. You'll regret this. I'll ruin your name so fast you won't be able to buy groceries without whispers following you. But instead of fear, I felt steady. My pulse slowed. For the first time in years, I wasn't scared of him, of her, of anyone. I stepped closer until we were eye to eye. Get out of my house. Emily scoffed. Excuse me. You heard me, I said, my voice calm but sharp as glass. Out, now, she laughed, quick and harsh. Oh, Elena, you've lost it. You think this little stunt makes you powerful. I didn't blink. The silence stretched heavier than all her shouting. Even Cody froze, stunned that someone had finally told him no. Emily's smile cracked. Her voice dropped low, dripping with poison. You don't know who you're messing with. Neither do you, I whispered. The fire popped behind me like applause as I pointed to the door. Leave before I call the police. Her mother, quiet until now, tugged on Cody's sleeve and hissed, Cody, let's go. Emily lingered, her eyes narrowed like she could burn holes straight through me. Then she spun around, heels clicking like nails on glass, and slammed the door so hard a picture frame rattled and fell. I stood in the silence, steady as stone. My hands didn't shake, my heart didn't race. I walked back to the kitchen, picked up a sponge, and calmly wiped the crumbs from my counter, the same crumbs from the grilled cheese. I ate while they waited at the airport like stranded royalty. As the rags slid across the wood, a dark thought crept in. This isn't over. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Notifications stacked up like bullets. Then I saw it. My face on the front page of the local paper. Woman abandons elderly couple during holiday storm. It hadn't even snowed. My throat tightened as I stared at the headline. The photo beneath was worse me, standing beside my car, caught off guard, tired and cold. I read the first line out loud, my voice breaking. Local woman leaves prominent community members stranded for hours. I gripped the paper so hard it ripped in my hands. And for one terrible second I thought that was the worst of it. But then the comments started. And that's when I realized they weren't done with me yet. My phone buzzed. Emily Harper tagged, you in a post. I opened a tan bile rose in my throat. A photo of her parents at the airport, clutching their designer coats like refugees. The caption, family means showing up when it counts. Some people forgot that. Hundreds of comments poured in. Shameful. Who does that to family? She's always been unstable. And then I saw it, Daniel's name, my son. He liked the post. My vision blurred. My hands shook so badly the phone nearly slipped. That blue thumbs up cut deeper than any knife. Before I could stop myself, I dialed his number. It rang twice. Mom, he said, voice tight. Daniel, I whispered, you saw that post. He exhaled hard. Yeah. And you liked it. My voice cracked. Mom, listen. No, you listen. My throat burned. You think I'm unstable. After everything I've done for you, 5 years, $3,000 every month. I gave up everything so you could have that house. And you let them drag me through the mud. Silence. Then, finally, Mom, you're overreacting. It's just social media. The word sliced through me. Overreacting. I'm asking you to stop making this worse, he said, voice rising. Emily's furious. Her parents are humiliated. Just apologize. A laugh tore out of me, raw and ugly. Apologize. Yes, he shouted, before this gets out of hand. It's already out of hand, I said, my voice cold as steel, and Danielu just made sure of it. I hung up before he could answer. My hands were steady now, my heart calm. Something inside me had broken, but something new had taken its place. No more begging, no more playing nice. This was war. I poured coffee into my favorite cracked mug, the one I'd glued back together years ago, like myself, still standing. I opened my laptop, pulled out the old manila folder, and began scanning mortgage statements, bank transfers, checks I'd written when Daniel and Emily couldn't make ends meet. Click, save, $3,000, $3,000, dollar, 3,060 times over. Next, screenshots, Emily's captions, class, not chaos. Some people can't handle basic responsibilities. Then, the dagger. Her private messages. She'd left her login on my tablet once. I checked, and there it was. ATM mommy strikes again. She actually thinks we like her. She's pathetic, always trying to buy our love. Sad, really. Screenshot, save, screenshot, save. I stared at those words until they blurred. Pathetic, maybe, once, not anymore. I dragged every file into a new folder on my desktop, labeled it Justice. Mortgage statements, receipts, screenshots, enough to destroy their perfect little kingdom. Then I turned to the calendar. December 24th. Empty, not anymore. I grabbed a red marker and drew a hard circle around it, pressing so deep the paper almost tore. Above it, I wrote one word, dinner. The ink bled like fire across the page. They thought they'd humiliated me. But Christmas Eve, that would be the real feast. That night, I stood in front of the mirror, smoothed the black dress over my hips, not new, but sharp, strong. I clipped on my pearl earrings, the last gift my husband gave me before cancer took him. Watch this, I whispered to his memory. On the counter sat the leather folder, 5 years of proof, and their downfall. I slipped on my blazer, tucked the folder under my arm, and walked out into the cold without looking back. Their house glowed like a palace. White lights dripping from the roof, music floating through the windows, cars packed in the driveway. I parked at the curb, heels crunching on frost as I climbed the steps. My heart was steady, my hands didn't shake. I rang the bell. The door opened. Emily stood there, perfect hair, perfect dress, perfect fake smile that faltered the second she saw me. "Alina," she hissed. "What are you doing here?" I smiled, slow and sharp. "It's Christmas, Emily. You invited me for dessert. Remember?" Her jaw tightened. Emily's face froze when she opened the door. "This is not a good time," she hissed. "That makes it the perfect time," I said, brushing past her before she could block me. Gasps rippled through the room as I stepped inside. The dining table stretched long and glittering, covered in crystal glasses and gold plates. Guests in fancy dresses and sharp suits turned to stare. Daniel stood near the bar, a drink in his hand. His face went pale. "Mom." "Hi, sweetheart," I said, my voice sweet as honey. "You look surprised." Emily rushed after me, her smile cracking. "You need to leave now." "Why would I leave?" I asked loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Family's everything, right? Isn't that what you posted?" A few guests chuckled nervously. Emily's fake smile flickered back on. "Of course. We just weren't expecting you. Then this will be a surprise." I walked to the center of the room and set my folder on the table. The thud echoed like a drum beat. "What's that?" someone whispered. I opened it slowly, like a lawyer ready to end the trial. "Evidence," I said. 5 years of love measured in dollars and cents. I laid down the first stack of papers. $200,000. That's how much I paid for this house and this life. Every month, $3,000 from me to them, 60 months in a row. The chandelier light made the numbers gleam. Gasps filled the room. Someone muttered, "Holy hell." Emily's face turned white. "Alina, stop this." "Oh, I'm just getting started." I spread out the screenshots next, laying them down like winning cards. "Here's Emily calling me ATM mommy." The room erupted. Gasps, laughter, whispers. Emily lunged at me, but I stepped back, holding up my phone. "And here's my favorite part," I said, hitting play. Her voice filled the room. "She's our doormat, always will be." The silence that followed was heavier than stone. Then, a woman's voice cut through. "Emily," she said coldly, "you still owe me $5,000. Another voice joined in. "Wait, me too last summer." The room exploded. Accusations, shouts, whispers turning into roars. Emily's mask shattered as her perfect image crumbled. "This is a setup," she cried. I smiled. "No, sweetheart, this is the truth." Daniel finally spoke. His voice was soft, broken. "Mom, why are you doing this?" I looked him in the eye. "Because I raised you better than this, And you let her turn you into someone I don't even recognize. His mouth opened, but no words came. I gathered the papers, slid them back into the folder, and straightened my blazer. My voice was calm, almost gentle. Enjoy the meal. It's the last one I'll ever pay for. Then I turned and walked out, my heels clicking like the countdown to the empire I had just burned down. 3 months later, their empire lay in ruins. I sat on my freshly painted porch, sipping coffee from the chipped mug I'd glued back together years ago. The crack didn't bother me anymore. It reminded me of something broken but strong enough to hold. The morning was quiet, except for the buzz of my phone. Emily Harper was trending again. I tapped the screen. Please help us save our dream home. Anything helps. God bless. Attached was a photo of Emily and Daniel on the front steps of my old house, holding a sign like beggars. Goal, $50,000. Raised, $50. One donor. Her yoga instructor had left a note. Namaste, girl, but maybe try humility next time. The comments were brutal. Didn't you humiliate his mom on Christmas? Sell one of your designer bags, sweetheart. I scrolled, a laugh bubbling up in my chest. Cody wasn't doing any better either. His fancy networking club quietly erased his name after whispers of financial trouble spread, and Emily, once the queen of elegance, was now a meme. Her GoFundMe plastered online with captions like "From class to chaos." ATM mommy had closed her account. I should have felt guilty, but I didn't. All I felt was peace. They built their kingdom on my back, and all I did was stop carrying it. The wind lifted the corner of the newspaper on my porch table. I took another slow sip of coffee, the warmth filling me like victory. The headline on the paper made my stomach twist. Foreclosure filings hit record high, and there it was in the local section. Former socialite Emily Harper and husband Daniel Ramirez face foreclosure on their upscale home following financial strain. Daniel's name burned in my chest. My boy, my only boy. I remembered his voice, that night shop cold, telling me to just apologize before this gets out of hand. I almost did. I almost gave in one more time, but I didn't. And now, this, I couldn't tell if it was justice or revenge anymore. All I knew was that I wasn't their doormat any longer. A sudden knock pulled me from my thoughts. 3 slow thuds, heavy and hesitant. My heartbeat quickened as I set my coffee down and walked to the door. When I opened it, the breath caught in my throat. Daniel. He looked hollow, shoulders slumped, his coat too thin for the weather. His hair was messy, his face worn down like life had scraped him raw. Mom, he whispered, his voice cracking on that single word. The war inside me roared to life. Part of me wanted to slam the door and never look back. The other part wanted to pull him close like when he was little and scared of monsters in the dark. Only now, the monster wasn't under his bed. It was the woman he married. Daniel. My voice came out flat. What do you want? He flinched, like I'd slapped him. Please, can I come in? I stared at him for a long moment, then finally stepped aside. He walked in slowly, looking around like he didn't recognize the place. Maybe he didn't. He hadn't been here since the day I signed my life away for his dream. The silence was heavy as he sat at the kitchen table, his hands clenched tight. Finally, I broke it. Say what you came to say. He swallowed hard. We're losing the house, I know. His head snapped up. I read the filings, I said calmly. Small town. Daniel. News travels. Color crept up his neck. Mom, it's bad. Emily's falling apart. Her parents won't help. We've tried everything. You mean GoFundMe? I raised an eyebrow. I saw that, too. His jaw tightened. Shame. People are cruel, he muttered. Cruel. My voice sharpened. Daniel, you stood by while your wife dragged me through the mud, while she called me names, while she turned me into the punchline of her little Instagram circus. And you. My voice shook now, anger spilling over. You liked her posts. You told me to apologize. After everything I gave you. He lowered his eyes. I was wrong. The words hung there, thin as thread. You were wrong. I repeated, my voice low. Wrong about what? About betraying your own mother. About bleeding me dry until I was empty. Mom, please, he whispered, his voice breaking. I don't know what else to do. We're drowning. Emily's talking about leaving. I can't. My stomach twisted, but my voice stayed cold. And what do you want from me? Money. He said nothing. The silence was the answer. I laughed, bitterly. Unbelievable, Mom, he begged, lifting his head. desperation carved into every line of his face. Please, just enough to stop the foreclosure. I'll pay you back, I swear. Stop. I raised my hand, the weight of 5 years pressing down on me. You swore that once already. He opened his mouth, but no words came. I walked to the counter, poured a glass of water just to steady my hands. Inside, my heart thundered. This was my son, my only son. The boy I raised, the boy I loved more than life itself. And here he was, broken and begging because of choices he made, because of her. Why are you really here, Daniel? I asked softly, turning to face him. To save your marriage, or to save your pride? For a second, I saw the truth flickering in his eyes. I looked at him, and for a moment all I saw was the little boy who once looked at me like I was his whole world. The boy who used to say, "You're my hero, Mom." It almost broke me right there. Almost. Then my phone buzzed on the counter. Her name lit up the screen. Emily. My jaw tightened. I let it ring twice before I answered and set it on speaker. Alina, her voice cracked through the kitchen like a whip. Put Daniel on. Now. I didn't move. Why? Because this is between us, she snapped. You've done enough damage. No, Emily, I said, my voice low and steady. What I've done is stop being your fool. For a second, the line went quiet. Then she laughed, sharp and bitter. You think you've won. You ruined Christmas. You humiliated us. And now what? You proud of yourself? I kept my eyes on Daniel as I answered, my words cold as ice. No, Emily, I'm not proud. I'm done. Silence hummed before she spat back. You'll regret this. I smiled, even though she couldn't see it. You already do. Then I ended the call. Daniel just sat there staring at me, like I'd lit the last bridge between us on fire. Maybe I had. He stood slowly, his chair scraping against the floor. So that's it. His voice was empty. You're just done with me. The words cut deeper than I expected. I swallowed hard. I'll never be done loving you, I said softly, but I am done saving you. His eyes glistened, but he didn't say a word. He just nodded once, like a man carrying a punishment he knew he'd earned. At the door, he stopped, his back still to me. Merry Christmas, Mom. His voice was barely a whisper, but it sliced straight through me. When the door clicked shut behind him, the silence filled the house. My breath shook in the still air, and guilt clawed at my chest. For a moment, I almost caved. Then I glanced at the calendar on the wall. The red circle around December 24th still bled like fresh paint. I remembered why I did this. Not for revenge. For freedom. I walked to the window and watched him disappear down the sidewalk, his shoulders bent against the cold. I thought I'd feel victorious. Instead, I just felt tired. But beneath that tiredness was something new. Something steady. Peace. Because for the first time in years, my life was mine. That's today's story. If it touched you, leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget, share your own life lesson in the comments below.